A delicate balance. Early trade ties. The story of trade between the United States and China is one of evolution and transformation, marked by periods of both cooperation and tension. The United States and China have a long and complex economic history. This relationship dates back to the 18th century, when American merchants first began trading with China, bringing back tea, silk, and porcelain. For decades, the relationship was primarily one-sided. The U.S. was eager to access Chinese goods, while China remained relatively closed off to foreign influence. The U.S. was the dominant economic power, while China was a developing nation. This dynamic persisted through much of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Trade between the two countries was limited. Political and economic barriers, including wars and revolutions, further complicated their interactions. In the late 20th century, things began to change. The global landscape was shifting, and China started to open up its economy. China's economy started to grow rapidly. The country embarked on a series of market reforms under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. It embraced market reforms and opened up to foreign investment. Special economic zones were established, attracting businesses from around the world. This led to a surge in trade between the U.S. and China. The two nations began to see each other as vital economic partners. American companies saw a huge opportunity in the Chinese market. They were eager to tap into China's vast labor force and growing consumer base. They began to invest heavily in manufacturing and exporting to China. This investment was a significant factor in the rapid industrialization of China. Chinese companies, in turn, found a growing market for their products in the U.S. From electronics to textiles, Chinese goods became a staple in American households. This led to a period of rapid economic interdependence. The trade ties between the U.S. and China have since become a cornerstone of the global economy, influencing markets and policies worldwide. The rise of China shifting economic tides. China's economic rise has been nothing short of remarkable. Over the past few decades, it has transformed itself from a poor agrarian society into a global economic powerhouse. This transformation was fueled by a number of factors. China's low labor costs made it an attractive destination for manufacturing. Foreign investment poured into the country, leading to the creation of millions of jobs. The Chinese government also played a key role in promoting economic growth. It invested heavily in infrastructure, education, and technology. This created a virtuous cycle of growth, propelling China to the forefront of the global economy. Trade wars and tariffs, a new era of tension. The global economic landscape has been dramatically reshaped by the escalating trade disputes between the United States and China. As China's economic might grew, so too did concerns in the U.S. The rapid expansion of China's economy has been nothing short of remarkable, transforming it into a global powerhouse. Some argued that China's economic policies were unfair and harmful to American businesses and workers. Critics pointed to issues such as intellectual property theft, state subsidies, and market access restrictions. They pointed to China's large trade surplus with the U.S. as evidence of this. The imbalance in trade was seen as a significant threat to American economic interests. In 2018, the Trump administration imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. These tariffs were intended to pressure China into changing its trade practices. China retaliated with tariffs of its own. The tit-for-tat measures quickly escalated, affecting a wide range of industries and products. This marked the beginning of a trade war between the world's two largest economies. The conflict extended beyond tariffs, encompassing technology, investment, and geopolitical influence. The trade war had a significant impact on both countries. American farmers, for instance, faced steep losses as China imposed tariffs on agricultural products. Businesses faced higher costs, and consumers saw prices rise on a range of goods. The increased costs of imports and exports disrupted supply chains and affected everyday items. The trade war also created uncertainty and volatility in global markets. Investors and companies around the world had to navigate an unpredictable economic environment, leading to shifts in market strategies and financial planning. Intellectual property, a point of contention. This issue has been a significant source of friction between the United States and China for many years. The complexities surrounding intellectual property rights have far-reaching implications for both economies and their global standing. One of the key issues at the heart of the U.S.-China trade dispute is intellectual property theft. This involves the unauthorized use of patented technology, trademarks, and copyrights, which has been a persistent problem in international trade. The US government has long accused China of failing to adequately protect intellectual property rights. This accusation is not new, and has been a recurring theme in diplomatic discussions and trade negotiations. American companies have complained that their technologies have been stolen or copied in China. These companies argue that their innovations, which require significant investment in research and development, are being unfairly exploited. This has led to significant financial losses for these companies. The impact is not just limited to lost revenue, but also includes job losses and reduced competitiveness in the global market. The US government has argued that China's lax intellectual property protection policies give Chinese companies an unfair advantage. This advantage allows Chinese firms to produce similar products at a lower cost, undermining American businesses. They argue that it allows them to benefit from American innovation without having to invest in research and development themselves. This situation creates an uneven playing field, where American companies are at a disadvantage. This has become a major sticking point in trade negotiations between the two countries. Resolving this issue is crucial for establishing a fair and balanced trade relationship, which is essential for the stability of the global economy. Section 5. Technology and Innovation, the Battle for Dominance. The US and China are also locked in a fierce competition for technological dominance. Both countries are investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, 5G wireless networks, and quantum computing. This competition has implications not just for economic competitiveness, but also for national security. The US is concerned that China's technological advances could erode its military superiority. The US has taken steps to restrict China's access to sensitive technologies. It has also sought to limit Chinese investment in American tech companies. This technology competition is likely to be a defining feature of the US-China relationship for years to come. Section 6. The Global Impact, Ripples in the Water. The economic rivalry between the United States and China has had a profound impact on the global economy. Other countries have been forced to navigate the complexities of this relationship. Some countries have benefited from the trade tensions. For example, Vietnam has seen an increase in manufacturing as companies seek to diversify their supply chains away from China. However, the overall impact of the trade war has been negative. It has disrupted global supply chains, increased uncertainty, and slowed economic growth. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, has warned that the trade war is a threat to the global economy. Section 7. Seeking Common Ground, the Path Forward. Despite the tensions, there are areas where the United States and China have common interests. Both countries have a stake in a stable global economy. They also face shared challenges like climate change and pandemics. There have been efforts to find common ground. In 2020, the two countries signed a Phase 1 trade deal. This deal addressed some of the issues in the trade dispute. However, many of the underlying tensions remain. Finding a sustainable path forward will require both sides to make compromises. It will also require a willingness to engage in dialogue and diplomacy. Section 8. Cooperation or Confrontation, Shaping the Future. The future of the United States-China relationship is uncertain. Some experts believe that the two countries are headed for a new Cold War. They argue that the ideological differences between the two countries are too great to overcome. Others believe that cooperation is still possible. They point to the fact that the United States and China are deeply interconnected economically. They argue that it is in both countries' interests to find ways to coexist peacefully. The choices that the United States and China make in the coming years will have a profound impact on the world. Section 9. A Multipolar World, Beyond the United States-China Rivalry. While the United States-China rivalry dominates headlines, it is important to remember that the world is becoming increasingly multipolar. Other countries are gaining economic and geopolitical influence. The European Union, India, Japan, and other nations are playing an increasingly important role on the global stage. This changing landscape presents both challenges and opportunities. It underscores the need for a more cooperative and rules-based international order, one that can accommodate the interests of all nations, big and small. The future will be shaped not just by the United States and China, but by the collective actions of all nations.